Do you ever look around and wonder, where did all the solid men go? Not the loud ones, not the flashy ones. I'm talking about the ones who move with quiet certainty, the ones who don't need applause to act right, who lead themselves before trying to lead anyone else, the ones who don't crumble when life hits back, the guy who doesn't have to flex, brag, or dominate to prove he's powerful. You know what I'm talking about? You feel it because deep down you're either becoming that guy or watching someone else become him. This isn't about being better than anyone. This is about being better than who you were yesterday, every single day. And not because someone's watching, not because it's trending, but because your standard is non-negotiable. You hold yourself to it, whether the world claps for you or not. And here's the truth no one likes to admit. Most people fold. They chase comfort, validation, shortcuts. They want results without the grind. They want to be respected without being respectable. But not you. Because there's a fire in you that refuses to stay quiet. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't fake. That version of you is dangerous, disciplined, calm in chaos, sharp in silence. He's not loud. He's not loud because he doesn't have to be. He is the standard. You're not here to just survive life. You're here to own it, not to compete with boys, but to rise like men, to be the one people can count on, to be that guy, the guy who shows up when it's inconvenient, the guy who speaks truth when silence is easier, the guy who doesn't beg for respect. He earns it without asking. Let me tell you right now, becoming that guy isn't sexy. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. But if you're tired of shrinking, tired of second guessing, tired of being overlooked, it's time. No more waiting. Be that guy. Are you ready? Let's begin. You don't have to speak to be powerful. You don't have to yell to be heard. You don't have to prove yourself to people who never respected you to begin with. Real presence is silent. Real presence is rooted. Real presence doesn't beg for approval. It commands attention without asking for it. That's the kind of energy that walks into a room and shifts it without a single word spoken. Be that guy. You know him. You've seen him. Maybe you've even felt glimpses of him within yourself when you were most grounded, most focused, most unapologetically. He's the one who walks with purpose, not noise, who looks you in the eye with no fear, no ego, just certainty. You feel him before he talks because he's done the internal work, and it shows. This kind of man doesn't need to dominate the space to own it. He doesn't need fancy clothes or big talk to be taken seriously. He's respected not because of what he has, but because of who he is. His silence has weight. His stillness has depth. And that didn't come from wishing or pretending. It came from doing the work when no one was watching. See, too many people confuse attention with respect. They chase likes, compliments, status. They put on a mask hoping people will clap. But respect, real respect, isn't handed out that easily. It's earned slowly, quietly, through consistency, through discipline, through character. You command respect by how you carry yourself when no one's looking. You command respect by how you react when you're disrespected, with calm, not chaos. You command respect by showing people your standards without ever having to explain them. You don't need to announce that you won't tolerate nonsense. Your energy already told them. You don't need to warn anyone not to play with you. Your boundaries already made that clear. And the beautiful thing is, when you truly start walking like that, the right people will rise to meet you, and the wrong ones will silently fall away. That's power. That's the kind of guy who doesn't get pulled into petty arguments because he knows who he is. He doesn't clap back to prove a point. He doesn't seek revenge. He simply removes his presence. And that silence, that decision to protect his peace instead of wasting it, that speaks volumes. You become that guy when you stop trying to convince people and start focusing on yourself, on your growth, your health, your discipline. You sharpen your mind, you train your body, you stay grounded in your truth, because when you truly respect yourself, others will feel it. They might not even understand it, but they'll sense it. That's why some people will try to test you. They want to see if that calm is real or just an act. But when you stay centered, when you refuse to be shaken, they'll understand this man is not like the rest. Respect isn't loud, it's quiet confidence, backed by real work. It's not about perfection, but presence. It's in how you stand, how you walk, how you handle rejection, failure, disrespect, without losing control. It's in your silence, when you could have exploded. It's in your restraint, when you had every reason to react. That kind of power can't be faked. It's built. You don't need a crowd to validate you. You need a mirror. And when you can look into that mirror and be proud of the man staring back at you because you stayed true, stayed solid, stayed grounded, that's when you become untouchable. Be that guy who earns his respect, not demands it. Be that guy who leads by example, not ego. Be that guy who doesn't flinch when others raise their voice, because his stillness speaks louder. So just see, and if you're not there yet, good. That means you're honest. That means you're hungry. That means the real work can begin. Start with how you treat yourself. Speak to yourself like someone you respect. Show up for yourself like someone you admire. Hold yourself accountable like someone you believe in, because once you command your own respect, the world will begin to follow. Not overnight, but one step at a time, one boundary at a time, one moment of discipline at a time. And one day you'll look back and realize you didn't become him by accident. You became him by choice. You became him by showing up when it was hard, walking away when it was toxic, staying quiet when it was wise, and living in a way that made your silence louder than anyone else's noise. So be that guy, because the world has enough talkers. What it needs is men who walk in truth, stand in strength, and lead with presence. Showing up once is easy. Showing up when you feel good, when things are going your way, when the mood is right, that's not discipline. That's convenience. Anybody can do that, but the guy who shows up every damn day, no matter what, that's rare. That's powerful. That's who you need to become. Because let's be real, life doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're unmotivated, if things didn't go your way this morning. The world isn't waiting on your permission to be difficult. It's going to challenge you. It's going to hit you on the days when you already feel like giving up. And in those moments, the guy who shows up anyway, he's the one who wins. You think greatness is built in the spotlight? It's not. It's built in the early mornings when nobody sees you. It's built in the silence when you drag yourself to work out, even though every part of you wants to stay in bed. It's built when you choose discipline over distractions, when you say no to temporary comfort, because your long-term goals matter more. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. The truth is, the difference between the guy who makes it and the guy who doesn't isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's consistency. It's the boring, repetitive, unglamorous decision to show up again and again and again, even when no one claps, even when no one notices, even when nothing seems to be changing. Be that guy who doesn't wait for motivation. He creates it by moving. Be the guy who doesn't need external validation to keep going. He keeps going because he said he would, because his word matters. Because when he makes a promise to himself, he keeps it. That's the kind of man people learn to respect, to count on. Because he's not just good when it's easy, he's unshakable when it's hard. Let's talk real for a second. There will be mornings when you wake up and you feel empty, heavy, like you're carrying something invisible. And everything in you will want to pull the covers back over your head. That's the moment that defines you, not the easy days. That moment. What you do then will either move you forward or keep you stuck. A guy who shows up every damn day doesn't always feel strong. He doesn't always feel like a warrior, but he still moves. He still executes. He knows that emotion is temporary, but commitment, that's built in stone. He's not ruled by his feelings. He's ruled by his mission. You want to build a better body? Show up to the gym, tired or not. You want to master your craft? Study and practice daily. You want to earn respect? Be reliable, be disciplined, be there. That's what separates you from everyone else. Because most people don't follow through. They get excited, then they burn out. They look for shortcuts, hacks, and fast results. And when it doesn't come fast enough, they quit. But not you. Because you understand the real reward isn't just the goal, it's who you become through the grind. The guy who shows up every day becomes unrecognizable in a year. Why? Because he's earned every inch of progress, every gain, every breakthrough. He didn't wish for it. He worked for it. You want to change your lives? Start by keeping promises to yourself. Start by proving to yourself that you can be counted on. Because when you show up, even on the worst days, you send a message to your mind that says, I got this. I don't quit. I don't back down. I show up. And the beautiful thing is it compounds. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum makes you unstoppable. Each day you show up adds another brick to the foundation of your future. And while everyone else is looking for the next big thing, you're over here building something unshakable, one day at a time. You know what that also does? It builds trust, not with others, with yourself. You stop second guessing. You stop doubting. You stop questioning your worth. Because now you have evidence, real evidence, that you are the kind of man who follows through, that no matter how rough the storm, how loud the doubt, how slow the progress, you show up. And eventually people notice. They don't say it out loud, but they watch, they feel it, they respect it, because consistency is rare. Consistency is magnetic. It's the quiet declaration that says, I'm not here for show, I'm here for growth. So whatever you're chasing, keep going. Whatever you're building, keep building, even when it's invisible, even when it's hard, even when nobody else sees it yet. Because the work you're doing now will speak for you later. You don't need to sprint, you don't need to impress anyone, you just need to show up every damn day. Be that guy. Chaos has a way of revealing the truth. It strips away pretense. It exposes cracks in your character. It tests everything you say you believe in. And in that moment, when things fall apart, when emotions run wild, when the pressure mounts, most people break. They panic, lash out, collapse under the weight of it all. But not you. You are becoming the guy who stands tall in the storm. Not because the chaos doesn't touch you, but because it doesn't own you. You've trained your mind, built your emotional armor, and grounded yourself so deep in your values that no noise from the outside can shake you from the inside. There's a kind of power in stillness. It's not weakness to be calm. In fact, it's one of the strongest things a man can be, to be calm when the room is spinning, to be collected when others are losing control, to be thoughtful in the face of pressure. That's mastery. That's what makes you unshakable. People talk a big game when things are easy, but real strength is revealed in conflict. Anyone can lead when the sun is shining, but the one who leads when it's dark, when it's messy, when no one has answers, he's the one people follow. Not because he's loud, but because he's solid. He doesn't react, he responds. He doesn't throw fuel on the fire. He becomes the fire break. And here's the truth. Chaos is coming for everyone. Life will not ask for your permission to test you. The phone call at 2 a.m., the job you suddenly lose. The betrayal you never saw coming. The heartbreak that crushes your chest. What do you do then? Because that's the moment when the old you wants to run, scream, hide, explode. That's the moment when emotions beg for control. And yet, the man you are becoming, he breathes, he grounds, he observes, and only then does he act. Not from fear, not from ego, from clarity. Being unshakable doesn't mean you're numb. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let temporary emotions drive permanent decisions. You don't let outside storms create internal ones. You've trained yourself to recognize the difference between urgency and importance, between reaction and response. And make no mistake, that kind of calm is earned. It's not something you're born with. You develop it by going through the fire, by being tested and refusing to fold. You build it every time you pause before you speak, every time you think before you move, every time you anchor into purpose when panic wants to pull you out to sea. People will try to rattle you. They'll push your buttons. They'll throw their chaos at you, hoping you'll mirror it. And if you do, they win. But if you stay calm, stay present, stay grounded, they lose control because they can't reach you. They can't manipulate what they can't move. That's why being unshakable is such a threat. It shows others what's possible. It reflects their instability. And often they won't like that. That's okay. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be anchored. And anchoring starts with self-awareness. You've got to know what shakes you before you can master it. Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it insecurity? Good. Now that you know, it's time to work. Time to train your mind like you train your body. Time to discipline your thoughts so that when pressure comes, you don't fold, you focus. Look at the world. Look at how easily people crumble. One bad day and they quit. One opinion and they doubt themselves. One failure and they fall apart. That's not you. You're not fragile. You're forged. You've been through storms before. You've survived things that were meant to destroy you. And now you stand taller because of them. That's the difference. You don't hide from chaos. You understand it. You use it. You let it sharpen you. So the next time the world around you falls into noise, be the one who's silent. When everyone's yelling, listen. When they're rushing, breathe. When they're crumbling, stand. That presence will say more than any speech. That calm will draw people in without trying. That strength will echo. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be perfect to be unshakable. You just have to be intentional. You just have to choose not to let the storm live inside you. You control the only thing you can yourself. So when the chaos comes, and it will, you look it in the eye and say, you're not stronger than me. And you keep walking because you've trained for this. You were built for this. You are that guy, the one who stands tall when the world tilts sideways, the one who bends but never breaks, the one who leads without shouting, the one who is unshakable in the storm. There's a difference between being strong and being controlling. One empowers, the other suffocates. And if you're going to be that guy, the one people trust, admire, and respect, you need to understand the difference. See, real strength doesn't need to dominate. It doesn't need to micromanage, intimidate, or make others feel small. To feel big, it's secure, grounded, present. The guy who truly protects the people around him does so not from insecurity, but from confidence. He's not trying to prove anything. He's trying to preserve everything that matters. You protect when you lead by example, when you make those around you feel seen, safe, and supported without trying to control who they are or how they move. You don't need to be loud about it. You don't need to remind people that you're the strong one in the room. Your presence says enough. Real protection starts with emotional control. It's easy to get reactive, to let your ego turn your love into control, to mistake jealousy for care. But that's not protection. That's fear in disguise. And when fear leads, respect dies. People begin to feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. They start hiding parts of themselves to keep your peace. That's not protection. That's control. And control rooted in fear will always end up pushing people away. So you've got to ask yourself, what are you really trying to do? Protect them or protect your pride? Because the guy who truly protects, he leads with calm, not control. He doesn't try to cage people. He creates a space where they can be free and still feel safe, where they can be honest without fear, where they can grow without guilt, where they can make mistakes and not be destroyed for it. That's protection. You protect by listening, by noticing, by stepping in when it counts, and stepping back when it's not about you. You protect when you say, I've got you, and your actions prove it without smothering the other person. And this doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It applies to your friends, your family, your team, your community. Protection isn't a role you step into when it's convenient. It's part of your character. It's something you live by. People know that when things get real, you don't run, you don't freeze. You're steady, reliable, and wise enough to know that power without humility is just control in a better suit. Let's be honest, there's a version of protection out there that's actually manipulation. It hides behind phrases like, I just care, or I'm just trying to help. But if the intent is to control someone's choices, silence their voice, or make them dependent on you, that's not care. That's control with a mask on. You're not here to babysit. You're here to uplift. You're not here to be a hero. You're here to walk beside people, not drag them behind you. The strongest men are the ones who know their strength but don't weaponize it. Who can be fierce when needed but soft when it matters? Who can hold space for someone's pain without trying to fix or dominate it? That takes restraint. That takes maturity. That takes emotional intelligence. You don't protect by removing challenges from people's paths. You protect by helping them develop the strength to face those challenges on their own. You don't speak for them. You remind them they have a voice. You don't rescue them. You remind them they can rise. That's real leadership. That's real power. And it doesn't come from ego. It comes from purpose. Because the guy who protects without controlling isn't afraid of others growing. He's not threatened by their strength. He encourages it. He celebrates it. He builds it. Because he knows that true protection isn't about dependence. It's about empowerment. People will feel it. They'll feel safer in your presence, not because you control them, but because you respect them. They'll open up to you because you don't use their vulnerability as a weapon. They'll trust you because you've proven that your power is safe. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you let disrespect slide. It means you know the difference between boundaries and chains. You can enforce your limits without violating someone else's. You can say no without needing to destroy the other person. You can walk away without needing to control the narrative. That's what makes you dangerous in the best way possible. You're not looking to own anyone. You're building a life where people choose to walk with you, not because they have to, but because they trust you, because you show up, because you don't flinch, because your strength lifts, not crushes. So be that guy, the one whose presence feels like armor, not a prison, the one who makes people stronger by how he treats them, the one who doesn't dominate, doesn't manipulate, doesn't control, but protects in the most powerful way by respecting freedom while standing strong. Because in a world full of people who try to lead through fear, be the one who leads with depth. Be the one they can count on, not the one they fear. Be that guy. There comes a point when you have to stop waiting. Waiting for validation, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to say you're good enough, smart enough, ready enough. Because here's the truth. No one's coming to hand you the life you want. No one is going to knock on your door and tell you it's your time now. That's on you. Be that guy who decides to level up without permission, because most people spend their whole lives on standby. They have the desire, they have the potential, but they're stuck in limbo. Why? Because they're waiting to be chosen. Waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right sign. They've been conditioned to believe they need someone else to open the door for them. But what if you realize the door was never locked? You don't need anyone to hand you a title before you start acting like a leader. You don't need a certificate before you start building your vision. You don't need applause before you start walking in your purpose. You become that guy when you realize that everything you're chasing, confidence, respect, power, success, it's already inside you. It just needs to be activated. And that activation doesn't happen by asking for permission. It happens when you make a decision. Enough waiting, it's time to move. There are people who will tell you to slow down, people who will get uncomfortable with your growth, people who will try to shrink you back down so they can stay comfortable where they are. Don't let that stop you. You're not here to make people comfortable. You're here to evolve. And evolving means outgrowing some spaces, outgrowing mindsets, outgrowing habits, conversations, relationships. It means saying, I love you, but I can't stay here. I've got somewhere to go. You don't need approval to do better. You don't need a round of applause to start waking up earlier, taking care of your body, speaking with more authority, standing in your truth. You don't need a title to lead yourself like a man who knows where he's going. This is your life. You don't get a second one. So stop giving other people the steering wheel to your future. Stop playing small, just so no one feels intimidated. Stop holding back your talent, your voice, your ideas, because you're worried what they'll say. They're going to talk regardless. Might as well give them something powerful to talk about. You know what happens when you stop waiting for permission? You move differently. You carry yourself like you belong. You speak with certainty, not arrogance, but clarity. You stop asking, can I? And you start saying, watch me. And suddenly people take notice. Not because you beg them to, but because confidence is magnetic. Purpose is undeniable. Energy doesn't lie. When you walk like you know who you are, the world adjusts. Here's the thing, they're not going to open the door for you until you start knocking like you mean it, until you stop being the quiet one in the back of the room, hoping someone sees your worth. You have to step into the room like you own your worth. Even if your voice shakes, even if you're scared, especially if you're scared, that's where the growth lives, on the other side of fear. Be the guy who stops asking, am I ready? And starts declaring, I'm becoming ready by doing it. Because readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from action. That business you want to start planning it. That body you want to build, show up to the gym. That confidence you want to feel, start speaking up. That self-respect you want to earn, start setting boundaries. You don't need a mentor to get started. You don't need funding, followers, or fans. What you need is a mindset that says, I'll find a way. I'll figure it out. I will not stay stuck. And don't misunderstand this. It doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you stop waiting for help to begin. You move forward, you make mistakes, you learn fast, you grow faster, and you keep leveling up again and again. Because the guy who levels up without permission doesn't stop at one level. He's always sharpening, always studying, always pushing himself. Not out of insecurity, but out of respect for the gift of life he's been given. He's not competing with anyone. He's chasing the best version of himself. That's the guy who wakes up with purpose. That's the guy who keeps showing up when nobody's clapping. That's the guy who doesn't just dream, he executes. And eventually people will ask, how did he do it? And the answer will be simple. He stopped waiting. He started moving. He gave himself permission. So be that guy. The one who doesn't hesitate. The one who doesn't ask the world to make room for him. He carves out his own space. The one who knows that the life he wants won't be handed to him. It will be built by him. Stop waiting. You are already qualified. Start leveling up. No permission needed. If you take nothing else from this, take this. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be richer. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be real, solid, grounded, unshakable. Be that guy. The one who doesn't talk about discipline, he lives it. The one who doesn't react to chaos, he calms it. The one who doesn't control others, he commands himself. The one who doesn't wait for opportunity, he creates it. Because the world doesn't need more noise, it doesn't need more image, ego, or empty confidence. It needs men who show up day after day with their feet planted and their values intact. Men who rise with intention, who lead themselves before leading anyone else. Men who don't need to announce who they are because their presence says it all. You want respect? Earn it in silence. You want growth? Show up when it's inconvenient. If you want to lead, start by mastering yourself. So stop waiting to become him. Start being him right now, right here. Because you weren't made to blend in. You were made to build, lead, and protect with quiet power and relentless consistency. Be that guy, the one who sets the standard, not just for others, but for himself.